Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we're talking about Time of Eve, which is a very nice change from what we had been watching.
Yeah, I didn't really think we'd go biblical with it, but it's a nice, refreshing look at, the Adam and Eve story.
Okay.
No?
But before that, we were talking about our favorite candy, the things that we love in terms of candy, favorite combinations of it. And we also talked about the patron-only choices for the next patron exclusive. And you'll get a sneak peek of that next episode. So on to the meat and potatoes, sir. Time of Eve. It's 6 episodes long. It's an original. Producers for it are Directions, Code, Trick Block. Studio for it is Studio Rikka. It's an original. It's a slice of life, and it's a sci-fi. What's also interesting about this is each episode is only 18 minutes long, and the air date is August 2008 through September 2009.
What I will say is it didn't feel like a 6-episode show. It felt dramatically less. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I have a problem with the way that they ended it. I have a problem with a few things. The biggest part is there wasn't more. Like, I liked it a lot. It gave a unique spin on 4 or 5 concepts that I've seen anime try to touch and do a decent job with. For instance, humanity in general. What is humanity? What's a good part, I guess, of the human that you would want to impart into robots?
Right.
What about us makes us good? What about us makes us bad? And is it a learned behavior? Is it a ingrained behavior? Nature versus nurture kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
They had rules, 3 main ones. Basically, don't hurt a person. 2, don't hurt yourself unless it violates rule number 1. And the 3rd one is always listen to a command or something like that, unless it violates rule 1 or 2. And that was basically it. It was simple.
Well, what's interesting is the 3 robotic rules are a mainstay even in today's society. And I feel like this kind of takes a different viewpoint on it,
In what way?
So like, for example, the first law of robotics is that a robot shall not harm a human or by inaction allow a human to come to harm, right? That's the first robot law. Second law is that a robot shall obey any instruction given to it by a human. And the 3rd law is that a robot shall avoid actions or situations that could cause it to come to harm itself, right?
Fair.
They further kind of elaborate on that in the sense that it can't violate the 3rd law unless it is going to cause harm to a person, right? And they take a viewpoint on this as well. So one of the robots it receives an order, and they have to receive or enact that order no matter what. It can't. But they also put in there, and you find this out too, which is really interesting, is that the robot, based on where it is in the hierarchy in the household even, has rules or commands that supersede everyone else's in the house.
Like a subset of rules.
Right.
Or a class.
But also, it can choose, well, not choose, but it can
I was going to say, can it really choose?
Ignore one of the set of rules if, for example, one of the other laws is going to be in violation. So say you're going to come to harm, you're going to be injured, and it has a command that would possibly violate number 1, rule 1, don't allow a human to come to harm by inaction. It would then be conflicted at that point, right? And I think that this series kind of overall kind of touches on that in general. But you also have in this series people which are considered the robotic ethics committee as well.
Yeah. Now, would you consider them robot ethics or robot enforcement?
So the story behind the robot ethics committee is that they were actually created, or more so viewed as, extremists, and they don't like robots. And this is really hammered away in the last couple episodes and their viewpoints on it.
Well, their ideas are valid in the sense of, you think about it, like if we were to take society as it is now, right? Because now we're all introverted. Like I've run into people in my field that actively avoid contact with people, and robots would be a perfect thing to facilitate that. Why would I want to have a confrontational interaction or potentially confrontational interaction with somebody when I could just have a robot do it, or when I can have a robot do everything, my chores, my homework, my learning, entertainment. Very similar to how they do it. It's very similar to not how they do in this anime, but very similar to how that's feared could happen in this anime.
Well, the biggest fear that's in this anime doesn't have anything to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that people are becoming quote unquote androidaholics, and the androidaholics are people that are falling in love with the androids. And so one of the biggest things that they're trying to strive or push towards is you can't have that reciprocate love, because while they look like us, and that's one of the key things is that they hammer away, is that while they look like people, they are not people. And that's one of the things that they're trying, is like, we look the same on the outside, but our insides are different.
Completely.
However, one of the interesting things, and what's great about this show, is that one of the key markers, one of the key things that all androids have to do is have a ring above their head. And for that and they have to have that so that way they can be known that they are an android, that they're not human. But in this cafe, it's considered a gray area, and they never talk about or really truly explain what a gray area is, do they?
I don't think so, but I feel like, you know how they say that they can turn away service, they can deny customers, at least over where I grew up, they're like, if you don't follow these rules, we don't have to serve you. No shirt, no shoes, no service, that kind of thing. Or they got a sign that says we can deny service for any reason. Typically the reason is being rude.
Yeah.
Similar thing here. They can implement their own rules to a certain degree in a certain subset, so long as no one really takes issue. Like if you walk into a place and everyone's wearing a suit and tie, and you're also wearing a suit and tie, you're fine. And you're like, all right, this is kind of cool. If you walk into a place that's completely casual and you're in a suit and tie and nobody looks twice at you, you're like, oh, okay, it's cool. So long as there's no waves that are being made, then there's no issue. The second that someone has a problem with how you run your business, be it all suit or all casual or a mixture of the two, it could dictate someone else stepping in and finding out where your moral compass should lie. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, I got a little lost. So what does that have to do with denying service?
So you can deny service for rude customers. So for someone who if let's say someone's rude to your server, right? Okay, you can deny them service, say that, look, we really don't want you there for that. In this particular sense, typically you'd be able to deny customers for being an android because they're not technically customers in this particular anime, right? They don't necessarily have the same rights, but no one's going to. So in this particular cafe, they walk in and they're able to turn the ring off, so it's completely anonymous. Nobody has a problem with those rules that shows up. Like people who go there, people who enter this place really don't see a problem with those rules. That's why it's a gray area, because it's not necessarily illegal.
Subset rule there that only androids really pick up on, Rule 1138, and we're never explained what Rule 1138 is. And that's one of the things they also bring up, is like, this cafe operates under rule number 1138.
Okay, so I missed that part completely then, because when I was thinking about it and I was watching it, I was assuming it was a right to service kind of place where if you cause an issue, you're removed, that kind of thing. Like if you go in there and you cause issues, No?
Yeah, I get that. Like they do kind of touch on that a little bit, but the rule is you treat everyone like the basics is like the rule is treat everyone equal, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But when they further talk about it, they say that that place is a gray area and it is known to be operating under rule number 1138. Now, we do know also that the three laws have other laws that kind of tie into it as well, other things. And this is also known when they cite a specific penal code or whatever for a android that turns its ring off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that they're only focusing on a specific law or rule, or maybe they are focusing on I want to say maybe a specific program that calls to that specific rule.
Well, here's my biggest issue. In one of the later episodes, it's called out. Like they said that if you are an android and you turn off your ring indicating you are an android, it is illegal.
Right.
However, in this cafe,
I said that they do cite the rules and other laws that are branching off of those three laws or rules, right?
But in this cafe, it's a gray area because no one seems to have a problem with it. It's still 100% illegal, very similar to discrimination in our real world. It's illegal, but in certain instances, it's allowed because nobody currently there has an issue with it. Is it right? No.
Yeah, but it's also said that I'm going to break the rules of this cafe, and he calls it out. But again, this is why I'm focusing in on number 1138, because we don't know what 1138 is. We're never told what it is. It could be that anyone that operates within this establishment under that code or rule or whatever are allowed to turn off their ring or whatever. We don't know that. But we don't know that that android that walked in that was being called out knows that because he was walking in and he didn't have a chance to read or analyze the sign.
No, they knew. Well, so I don't believe that the rule on the sign, we're going into semantics, but specifically speaking, I think the rule on the sign when the android we're talking about says, I'm going to break the rules, he's breaking the rules of the cafe by outing a specific person being, or a specific person or robot being a robot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is we don't know the details of that because and this is one of the interesting things about this is or not interesting, I want to say aggravating. One of the aggravating things about this whole thing is that we're not given answers. We're given questions. No. We're given a lot of questions. Heck, even the ending is a question. They don't even have the answer.
No, the ending, the reason I wanted more is because they didn't really give an ending. They gave you there's more to know, but we're not really going to tell you. They give you a light novel version. And I know we're kind of focusing a lot on the rule, but I think our point of contention between you and I is the rule that it's against the rules to turn off that Halo thing they've got.
Right.
Right? Like we agree there.
To what we know, yes, 100%.
Yeah. So in the cafe, it's against the rules to out someone as an android. I think that's the rule that was being broken. He says, I'm going to break the rules of this cafe. And then he immediately goes, you're an android. You're breaking the law by taking off your ring. So what I'm saying is, even in that cafe, it's against the rules to take the ring off so that they can't identify you. However, because everyone in that current area doesn't have an issue with it, it's allowed. So it's one of those things like, it's not a break in the rule if you don't say it, if you don't bring it up, that kind of thing.
Right.
Am I off the
again, mark? Like this is why I keep referencing 1138. Mm-hmm. We don't know what that is. So we don't know what the full length of that rule or what the sub-meaning for that is or how it applies or anything like that.
It's complex because they use it several times and it's several different.
No, they don't. They don't. They only say they operate under rule 1138. Mm-hmm. You see that it's embedded into the board. So androids are the only ones that can basically see it. And that's it.
So what rule did he call out? Because I thought it was 1138.
No, he didn't call out a rule 1138. He goes, I'm I'm breaking the rules of this cafe that basically you can't ask for personal detail. Like you can't discriminate or ask if they're a straight out android, because if you remember at the beginning, the boys were asking if they were an android or trying to interact with them as if they're androids or get the information. And they were told you can't ask that information.
Yes.
All right. But they obviously are not androids, so they can't see Rule 1138.
This is true. So, okay. See, I was under the impression, I finished watching it maybe an hour and a half ago. I thought the android we're talking about referenced 1138 when he was citing the fact that he had the ring off. He might have been citing a different rule.
Right. He could have been citing the general rules on the board that basically everyone should be, that there should be no discrimination or distinction made between humans and androids. That's the only rule that's in there. The one rule is that patrons must adhere to. It's that there must be no distinction made between humans and androids. And that's what's written there. But we don't know if that's what 1138 means or if there's a deeper meaning behind it. And so the android, the one that calls him out, is breaking the one rule by calling him out, because he's calling it out that he is making that distinction.
Do you remember why he made that? Like he called the other android out?
I do. Because a human was about to be put in danger because of it, which is why I said that
I see it now.
Rule number 1 can be broke or rule number 2 can be broken as long as rule number 1 is in effect, as long as there isn't that large conflict, because there was that conflict.
So I'm seeing it here. It says you are in violation of Robot Law 9, Article 3. So yeah, 1138 is something completely different, and I was wrong. So 1138 might be a amendment indicating something to the effect of this is allowed here, don't cause a problem, because we're not necessarily.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean,
that's the only thing I can think of.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. Is like we're like given breadcrumbs. We're given these little snippets. We're given like all this information. Like, here's this person. Here's how they are. This is how they interact with each other. And here's how people basically in today's world are interacting. You have people that are falling in love with robots, and you have robots that are falling in love with other robots. And, it's just.
But is it bad?
Well, I mean, like if you're worried about population levels, yeah, it can be bad.
Well, there's still artificial insemination.
Like, what happens if you have people that aren't able to get artificially inseminated because of the drought or whatever? I mean, like there's a whole slew of other problems or issues. And at that point, it becomes very selective, because only a small portion of people that are actually going to be able to A, get it, or B, will be providing samples. So it's not going to be a large sample size.
Well, see, you can get around that too.
Then we're going to start getting into like
the moral dilemma and genetic modifications and cloning. No, I was going to say,
but we don't even know if cloning's a thing in this yet. We don't even have the answer for that. But we just know that people are falling in love with androids, and they're getting their love like that, which is understandable. I mean, like we all need someone to love.
What I was going to say was, or what I think might be a possible solution, is if a man loves a woman android and they do the deed, the deposit could be shipped off somewhere else in cryogenically frozen area and matched to a possible woman who would give the best offspring. So that'd be a government program rather than a personal program, or matched with an android who looks similar to him, who it falls in love with a woman. Like it's
that's assuming that they enact a law allowing and de-illegalizing sex bots, because those are illegal. They even reference it in the anime that sex bots are illegal. You can't be doing the deed with robots in this, man. It's because it's illegal. Got laws for it.
True, but
that's why I can't get isekai'd into another world. There's laws against it.
All I know is they're already breaking laws to begin with, so they're in violation of Article 9.
Well, anyway, I mean, they're breaking laws left and right in this. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you when they said that they were saying the biggest issue is you might lose touch with reality. Going back to what I was saying before, you lose touch with reality because if that's what you know and that's more comfortable to you, to be an introvert, this is a perfect solution. So I can see how this might be a thing, and I can see how a father might not be able to connect to his son the way an android would. And I can see a father being resentful for the fact that his child is turning to somebody else, or a parent is turning to somebody else, especially if the android is more understanding, doesn't discipline, and shows care, essentially being a surrogate or being the best surrogate you could want.
Well, the thing is androids, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase my thought here, because I was about to say something.
Okay.
Androids outside the cafe
are in Dragon Ball Z.
Are solely acting on logic. Whereas if in the cafe, they have more personality and will react a little bit on emotion. This, even though it was only 6 episodes long, it does touch on a lot of hot topics, and it touches on a lot of viewpoints that you could go either way with it, whether it be I have this very particular view, or I could be on the other side of said view, and it drums up a conversation in regards to that. This is a very good anime for that.
It's a good anime to start a conversation.
Especially when it comes to robotics and the viewpoints behind it. That is great, especially with how far robotics and AI is coming along. I feel like this is something that could happen in the very near future, which I am excited for and scared about at the same time. I'm like, we're in the infantile stages of a lot of things, so I'm looking forward to it in a whole.
The biggest issue, biggest difference, I would say, between what the show provides and what we're just now talking about potentially in the future, we have essentially slaves, robots. They have no voice. They have no conscience as of yet. If we give that to them, there'd be your computer wouldn't be a tool anymore. It would be something completely different.
What this also reminds me of? Blade Runner.
iRobot?
Blade Runner.
With the replicators, or with the whatever the things were.
Yeah. This reminds me a lot of iRobot. And they do touch on it heavily in Blade Runner as well. So it's a great, you know what? We may have to do Blade Runner in the future for a Patreon exclusive. The first one, and then the second one.
Well, actually, you have a point, because in Blade Runner, I've actually seen it, and there's a theory, a very strong theory that the directors play with, that Harrison Ford's character is what he's hunting, which is why he's so good at it. And in this series, you have an android who is sent to a specific location on orders to incriminate a bunch of other like-minded people. So I can see the similarities there.
I can see where they draw on it, right? Where they draw on it as a whole. I think, it's definitely one that drums up a lot of thoughts. It definitely is one in terms of where you can get real deep, even though it's only 6 episodes long. It's like maybe an hour and a half long, 2 hours at most long combined. You can have a very deep and a very thoughtful conversation on it. And you can really get into the nitty gritty, like how we did just think, we had a several minute conversation just on the cafe rules and what a potential rule is that we have no other information on, other than that they reference it a couple times, and that's it.
I wondered, do you remember what that rule was called?
1138.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to go online and see if there's anything referencing Rule 1138.
I mean, depending on where you are, it could be a number of things. There is a manga that came out after this that is finished.
You're gonna like this. Rule 1138 is intentionally vague. That's what it is. That is the answer. What is Rule 1138? It's intentionally vague. That is frustrating.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. There's got to be more to it than that.
I think it has something to do. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, I'm not reading that.
The other thing is, I mean, this also kind of like opens up a segue with, there potentially being more than just 3 robotic laws, right?
Well, I think there's 3 rules and the rest are laws. And the difference between a rule and a law is a rule is inherent.
Let's rephrase that. There are 3 laws, but there are rules. 1138 is not a law. It is a rule. And they cite the 3 robotics laws or 3 laws of robotics.
Okay, I think it's semantics, but one is, I say that because you're in violation of, I just sat it up. Damn, I got rid of it. I was gonna say, I think rules and laws in this particular instance are interchangeable, but one, just the term, but one is absolute and the other one is, has leeway, has gray area, so to speak. No?
Sure.
Because they broke the rule, so the thing broke a rule in order to enforce a law.
Well, he broke a law to enforce he broke a law and broke a rule to enforce another law. But the law that he was enforcing was being enforced because one of the laws, that primary base laws that he's being governed by, was about to be violated. And he can't violate any of the 3 laws unless it's to protect another human.
So let's take a step back. And
so
we're going off of one scene. This is literally one scene that you and I have been going on about for a minute. I'd like to take a step back from that scene, from the one particular part we're talking about, and just appreciate how smart the human that's in danger is actually. Because one, in literal seconds, he was able to go through everything, all the information provided, and deduce why it's happening. Like, hey, wait a second. A primary directive was here, and now it's being rejected because of this. Why? I'm the only person identified as a human, so that means that this thing's trying to protect me, and that means I'm in danger. Why am I in danger? I'm in danger from that person. That's why. That's the only I'm like, dude, if I was in that situation, I'd been like, holy crap, you're talking. That's awesome. And leave it at that. Whereas he's going through a whole sequence of just danger factors, for lack of a better word.
Right. So here, you want to talk about mind-blowing, right? We're talking about this one scene. I mean, like we have talked about other scenes and other things that have happened in the show. Which honestly, I feel like is a little dry. It's a little dry for my taste, but the 3 laws are the 3 things that we keep going on around about. Think about it, man. It has been around for 80 years.
Yeah.
80 years, dude. That's when these laws were, the 3 robotic laws were first thought of 80 years ago. And we're to this day still coming up with content and movies and everything like that are based around those 3 robotic laws. Are
you being serious? Like
serious?
Real life?
Yeah. Like serious.
Really?
Like everything that is being developed and thought, including stories and everything like that, fiction and science fiction and reality are being built around these 3, with the thought process behind these 3 laws.
Do you think we're getting dumber as a society?
Every single day. That's why I watch anime.
I'm just thinking, if it was 80 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to think of something that would be like me making a rule for this thing that in my lifetime probably won't happen. Like, I'm going to be dead, but my idea is so infectious that one day the rules I made, like don't step on this line or this will happen, is now a law 80 years later. And it is profound and it works really well. Like the forethought alone is impressive,
Yeah.
But well, so wait, one second.
What I'm going to end up having to do, and I'll probably write some preliminary thoughts, and I encourage you to do the same thing. We can come to a kind of discovery phase and just really explore the 3 laws and everything having to do with it. We can make that exclusive for our patrons there.
I could try. I'm not good at homework, but I can try.
Neither am I. That's why I said we could put it together. It was like you and I, we could just do it. Rick, we can do this. We have the technology. We don't even have
the technology's there.
Look, we don't even have to type, bro. We just have to speak it. It'll type for us. ultimate laziness right there, man. We got this. We can do it. We can.
Oh God.
Maybe. I don't know. Possibly.
Well, so one of the things I want to jump back. I realize 90% of our conversation is based on, I wouldn't say 5 literal sentences and 1 scene. I got a question for you.
I mean,
out of an hour and a half, I guess pulling 1 scene's not bad, but the reason why my rating for this show will be what it is, how many memorable characters are there? How many memorable main characters are there? You're thinking way too hard. The number is way too high if you're going that route. I remember maybe 2 people.
I was going to say,
and again, I finished it an hour and a half ago.
I was going to say 4.
Well, your memory's better than mine, but like,
I mean,
they don't leave an impact. The situations leave an impact. The people who are in them don't, to me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. Which is why I said, the writing was dry. The people, I didn't create that connection with them. I could to a degree. However, I found some of it just like kind of left me with the feeling of really type of thing.
Yeah, like the message got through, but the way that, like Little Red Riding Hood, I know the general gist of it, but I don't remember the exact thing that the Grimm brothers wrote. I know the overall stuff. I like the
message. I like the end result. I just don't like the journey.
Okay, I can see that. Okay. I can definitely relate to that. I think, yeah, it was a bit dry. It was a bit monotonous at times, but I liked the fact that because nobody was really memorable, you can introduce new people and get experiences from them and not expect to know them later. You can learn things from random characters that don't really serve a purpose other than the fact that they're throwing their own spin on it. And when you take that away, you get a fuller picture.
Yeah. Yep.
Similar thing. A person I knew once said that everyone sees something different. Everyone sees the same picture, the same thing differently. An elephant. You've got 18 blind people and you present an elephant to them. Stay with me for a second. They all go to the elephant. They all feel what they feel. And to each person, the elephant is something different. One person only feels a leg. So to him, an elephant is a large leg. One person felt the trunk. So the elephant's obviously a large trunk. One felt the body. It's a big body. They're all pieces of a bigger story. They're all pieces of a bigger picture. When you bring them all together like they show with us, the people you're getting the stories from don't matter, but the overarching message does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't like the journey it took to get there, but I get the end result. It was just
same
confusing.
Thing.
It was just confusing. And I mean, I get what you're trying to say. I do. I get what you're trying to say. I didn't like the journey getting there. I just found it more confusing I was like, well, why is he saying it like this? I don't like that. That's no. But
very similar to the show.
The end result was there. And like I said, I don't like the journey, but I get what you're saying at the end. So with all that being said, confusion and all and everything else, on a scale of up to 1, sir, how would you rate this?
Up to 1. No, it's, so I have a question. Give one last thing. On the road that your journey happened to be to the last episode, if they came out with a second season, would you watch it?
Yeah, but that's more so because of the completionist in me. I can't not watch it.
I would want to watch it. I wouldn't feel compelled to watch it due to, I got to finish it, but I'd want to watch it.
I'll tell you this right now. I started watching this about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I made it to episode 2.
I'm in the same boat. Well, I made it to episode 4. But it doesn't really
watch
pick up
it anymore because it just, to me, I did not like the journey. I still don't like the journey.
Then why did you recommend it to me 10 years ago?
Because you were like, "This is you." You recommended it to me.
No.
You did.
I was all about Naruto. I was all about, and you're like, "Hey, this looks kind of cool. You should try it." Granted, it was probably one episode in.
All I said was, "Have you heard anything about this?" If you chose to twist it and go, "You should check this out," that's on you 100%. I did not recommend it. I didn't recommend it because I didn't even watch it. I can't recommend what I don't watch.
That's a lie.
I can't recommend what I don't watch. Why would I recommend something I don't watch?
I don't know why you did what you did.
Right. Yeah, I like your cover there, sir.
But I'd watch it. The story is good. I think the fact that the animation style is consistent. It's not great. It's not horrible, but it is consistent. It's crystal clear. It's got clean lines and everything like that. I didn't really remember hearing much music, you know?
It was there, especially in the beginning when they were doing like their own little mini opening scene. Same thing at the end. It did have it kind of in the background a little bit. It was there. It just wasn't very prominent. Mainly because it wasn't meant to be the focus of it. It was meant to be something kind of like strumming in the background, playing in the background, just like as ambient noise. That's about it.
Yeah.
Not at all times. Only when they're in the cafe or at the house.
I'm gonna have to give it probably a 5. Very middle of the road for me. No. It is middle of the road, but it doesn't have a good ending. So 4.
I'm going with. The only reason why I'm going with a 6.
Really?
Going with a 6 is because of the sheer conversations that can happen as a result of watching this. That's
assuming you get more than one person to watch it.
That is true. However, think about the in-depth conference. Like you and I, we could go on for hours about some of the
and we will after this is done.
Most minute details that you could just focus on and have full in-depth conversations on it. And that is why I'm giving it a 6.
Fair. I mean, I don't think it's fair, but I think it's a bit high personally.
Hey, you know what? You rate it how you want to rate it. I rate it how I want to rate it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to go back and change your score for Sin, I mean, I'm all for that.
Oh, look, I got paint to watch. It's drying.
Yeah, okay. Right. I mean, like we could watch the dubbed version.
Oh God.
This time. I mean,
don't do that. I'm drinking. Don't do that. That hurt.
Oh, okay.
Watch the dubbed version. I did watch the dubbed version. I watched the dubbed and it was, oh God.
I know. That's why I was saying we could watch the dubbed. I love it, man. It's great. Anyways, next week's choice is Hellsing Ultimate.
It is indeed.
Not to be confused with Hellsing that we watched a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie. It's got to be good.
Indeed.
Got to be good.
It's got to be great. It is going to be great. I promise. It's going to be good. You'll like it. I think you'll like it. Well,
okay.
All that being said, I feel like this is a great spot to kind of wrap up, sir.
I agree.
All right. So hope you all enjoyed this week's choice. Hopefully it wasn't too deep or too focused on anything in particular, but you know, it was a good show, at least for the conversation topics, whether they be influential or otherwise. And feel free to reach out to us and let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. Tell us we're highly intellectual individuals and just seeing way too much into things that's not really there, or just tell us we're dumb idiots. So that's all right too. Reach out to us at featuredanimepodcast@gmail.com, at Those Anime Guys on Twitter, at Featured Anime Podcast on Facebook. And if you want to talk to us in our Discord, feel free to do that. Let us know. Talk to us there. Link for that's going to be in the show notes. And if you want to catch some of the bonus content, some of the bonus episodes that are going to be coming out, next one we're actually going to be recording here pretty soon. And that'll be The Drunken Master. And $1 a month will get you that bonus content. Until next time, I'm Jack.
I'm Rick. And we'll see you next time.
That's it? I'm a little hurt.
Yeah, I can't. I was trying to think of ways to be like, I'll be your android, but that's that. No, can't do it. I tried.
All right. Well, lackluster end.
Just like the show.
True.
Later, brother.